Hi there, blade fans. This old sword with you, and today a different kind of review. This is the first Balisong review I've done since I did the Kershaw Lucha. And it is my second only serious Balisong. I do have the Lucha, which I'll bring out for comparison in a moment, and I have the Lucha Trainer. It's a great knife. This is the Bradley Kimura. It is something which is made by, let's see if I can find it. There we go. Ops, which makes its own line of Balisongs. Okay, so I guess Bradley Cutlery Company comes under Ops. And Ops has its own line of, I think maybe also automatic, I'm not 100% sure, and Balisongs. First of all, I'll tell you, I like this Balisong and the action of it a lot. I was really surprised. So, whether or not, here's the big question for you, and you may or may not be watching this for your own reasons. You may not consider a Balisong to be something viable EDC for you. Certainly, this does not come with a clip. Clips tend to get in the way of manipulating the knife. And there's a couple different kind of users of Balisongs, certainly, maybe more than just a couple. So the Balisong knife has its origin in the Philippine Islands. As far as everybody knows, it might have had some earlier, origins, maybe India, Indonesia as well, but I think we're pretty much sure that this cropped up and became very, very well-known, ubiquitous in the Philippine Islands. In World War II, the Filipinos were making these from old toothbrush handles and Jeep car springs that were reforged and so forth, and the materials were, the handles were folded over. They were often brass or copper or really whatever they could get their hands on. The whole concept is that you have two handles that encompass the blade, got the blade, and the blade is pinned to the handles. Everything should be free swinging. And we're going to get a little bit more. So we have different types of manipulations with the Balisong. I'm not going to give any kind of a show here with my hand wrapped around the tripod trying to show you in front of the camera. But is it something that you might use for everyday carry? Well, it's certainly a strong knife. This one happens to have a good edge on it. Of course, you can always put any kind of edge on a knife that you want. And it is not particularly light for a Balisong. The knife will stay closed with a safety latch and easily thumbed off. On this one, I wish that it had just a little more tension, but it does stay closed. How do you carry it if there's no clip? Well, you can dump it in your pocket and not know what direction it's going to go in. But what's often done in the Philippines is that it's carried in the rear pocket next to the wallet. So the wallet braces it up, and you can reach in and pluck it out at any time. That's one option. Another option is what, in my use of the Balisong, goes way back to the early 80s, when the Benchmade Knife Company was simply known as the Balisong Company, operating out of Burbank, California. By the way, this is long before the YouTube era and these types of reviews. So we were using them, selling them in my martial arts school, and training with them in the Piccati Tercia Kali system. But you might be able to use this in what Benchmade called a cocoon, which is, and I don't have any, basically a ballistic nylon pouch that's carried horizontally on the belt, and it's a great way to carry a balisong. You don't need any clip, you don't even need any latch, because that cocoon that it goes into holds it right there. When you want the knife, you simply pull it out, there's a flap, and so on and so forth. Probably still available today under different names, but I'm not going to go on because this will be a very long video if I get into the whole history of balisongs and my experience with them and so on and so forth. We're going to talk about the knife today, and it's a nice knife. It is made from 154 cm, a decent steel. In fact, there was a time when the custom balisongs, which were the original ones made by Balisong Company, were all 154 cm. That was the custom cutlerer's steel of choice. Still many things made from 154 today. First thing you'll notice is some heavy branding right smack in the middle there, and you may or may not like that. I feel maybe it's a little large. I like what they did on the right side of the knife, where we've got some fine lettering here. And by the way, this is made in the US, so that's a great thing. It runs on washers rather than bearings, but it is very smooth. And I find the contours of the handle slabs, the scales, give it a roundedness that really makes it feel great in the hand. And again, I'm going out of frame, I know, and I don't really have the room here to move it around in front of you. It's got an interesting triangular shaped tang, which can be used for either glass breaking, striking, combat type stuff. Again, in the closed position, it's not too bad. In the open position, we're talking about the latch. In the open position, finding the latch is just a little bit loose. The tension on the handles, let me get that so it's not aimed at my fingers. Tension's controlled by these two pins. One pin goes into these notches on the handle in the closed position, keeping the handles apart and keeping the blade secured, and the other one here. On the original balisongs, you only had that one pin. There was no secondary pin there. And essentially, the blade would rest on a kicker plate down here that went into the handle. Now, a lot of people use the balisong kind of like a yo-yo. They do tricks with it, and there's aerial acrobatics and so on and so forth. And while I admire the skills, those aren't really combat useful tricks. They're more tricks to, you know, show dexterity and coordination and kind of do cool things. They're not going to hurt the use of the knife, but they're not necessary. What my Kali instructor used to say is that basically you open it, then it's a knife, then you use it. So I mean, that's the concept. The handles can be used to flail and strike, and it is a one-hand opening knife. Today, yeah, we have thumb studs, we have flippers, we have assisted, we have autos, we have all kinds of ways of opening a knife. But this was one of the original one-handed knives, right? And you can use it with either hand. It's not left or right-handed. It's totally universal. So we're going to go through some specs. I could get off on tangents here. I do want to leave some time for comparisons with at least one other knife. The overall length is 9 inches, we're going to call it. The blade length is, well, the sharpened edge is a little over 3.5. If we go to the actual handles, we're slightly shy of 4 inches. We'll call it like a 3.9. So it's longer than it seems. Getting into blade stock, we're going to pinch it right here on one of these ears, 3 millimeters. If we grab the handle, 0.54, which is fine. You don't want these to be too thin. And if we go to weight, it's all steel in the handles as far as I know. Yep. And obviously a steel blade. But let's see what we've got for weight. Comes in at almost 6 ounces. So because of all of that steel and not a lot of skeletonizing, actually we have skeletonizing on the scales, but the steel is solid all the way through. So let's see, yep, we've got the thicknesses, we've got the weight, and we've got the linear dimensions. So let's lock it up and do a comparison with the Kershaw Lucha, or Luca. Lucha? I think we're going to call it a Lucha. Lucha is a much longer knife, and it runs on bearings. But the thing I wanted to show you is that the lockup is different. So what they've done on the Lucha is put the pins in the handle instead of on the blade. It's very interesting. And they engage this extended tang right here on the open position, and on the closed we're really engaging those same pins but on the tang of the blade. In either case, we've got separation. We don't have the blade riding on the handle, which is something you don't want. As a matter of fact, you've got an open handle, so the blade is not going to touch in any case. That's a good thing. So this is a very unique design. There may be higher end knives that have that, but not so much the ones that I've seen. And again, this runs on bearings, can be taken apart with a Torx, I believe. This also can be disassembled. You can, on the Kimura, you can move the latch from side to side. Not sure you can move the latch from side to side. You've got pins holding that in. So not so sure it can be done that easily on the Lucha. So that's the Bradley Kimura. Let's show you a real quick comparison with more of a standard folder. You can see it's longer than the Benchmade Griptilian. About 1/2 inch or so longer on the blade, and overall I would say a good 1.25 inches longer. One of the things with Balisongs is they have stick-like handles. So you may or may not like the grip you get, but I like the fact that they grooved the scales. These are green micarta. Are they micarta? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're micarta. Comes in a couple other colors. Again, made in the USA by Bear Ops, Bradley Cutlery. This is the Bradley Kimura. Check it out. You might like it. Don't forget to give this vid a like and subscribe. We will catch you soon.